NFC West draft grades. So what that means, we're going to talk about all 4 teams in the NFC West, and then also as well each team's draft picks and what our thoughts are, and each team is going to get a grade. Now, we're going to be referencing an article. It's off of the San Diego Tribune from MSN.com. So we'll see what they put, and then we'll go over each draft grade, and you guys comment below. Also, hit that subscribe button. That helps the channel to grow. Mike, you ready?
Absolutely.
Man, let's get it. Starting off with the Arizona Cardinals. Lots of negative drama in the offseason. So let's see how they did. 6 overall pick in the first round. Paris Johnson, Ohio State. Then they got B.J. Ojulari, edge rusher, LSU. Ooh, love that pick. Garrett Williams, cornerback, Syracuse. That's a scrappy cornerback. That secondary room for the past couple years over Syracuse has produced a lot of guys, man. A lot of guys. They got the safety over in Andre Cisco over in Arizona, Trey Williams in Miami. I mean, they're constantly bringing people in lately. So loving what they're doing there. I'm sure he's going to pan out well. Then we got Michael Wilson, wide receiver, Stanford. Joe Gaines, guard, UCLA. Clayton Tune, quarterback, Houston. I really like the Clayton Tune pick. I really, really do. Not saying he's going to take over for Kyler Murray or anything like that, but you want a guy who is a bit refined, and hey, he's 6'2", so I think we'll take it. Owen Papawi, linebacker, Auburn. Then there's Keitrell Clark, Louisville, and Dante Stills, defensive tackle, West Virginia. I like the Dante Stills pick, man. I thought he was probably going to go third or fourth round, but he slid all the way down. But great pickup. So this article takes and ranks him at an A-. Me personally, I love what they did. They beefed up their defense a lot. They got Michael Wilson, wide receiver, Stanford. I'm not sure that's going to be a takeover guy. I'm not going to give them an A-. I am just going to take and give them a solid B-. There's a lot of guys in here who they didn't test extremely well. They got Clayton Tune. I like that pickup. The Paris Johnson and B.J. Ojulari and Garrett Williams, those are my 3 favorite picks. It's the first 3 picks that they did. So, I'll give them a solid C+. Mike, where you have the Cardinals at?
Man, I give them an A. This was one of my favorite drafts because Paris Johnson obviously was the best lineman in this draft, and they got him. They listened to Kyle. They traded back and got him still, which is, that in my mind bumps them up a little bit. B.J. Ojulari, power rusher. He's not going to be a Zach Allen replacement because it's a little bit different of a position they play, but he's a guy that's going to help out with that pass rush. Garrett Williams, I love, man. I think he was a real physical, sticky corner he has to work on. Timing a little bit. Michael Wilson, huge dude, man, 6'2", 214. I think he would have gone a little bit higher if he didn't have his injury issues that he did have, and that was kind of a risk because of those injuries. And then again, Dante Stills, I think that's a guy that could develop and eventually take Zach Allen's rotation spot in a couple of years. But I did like this draft a lot, man. I'll give them a solid A. I think they hit a lot of needs.
Love it, man. All right, cool. Next team that we got is the Los Angeles Rams. Now, shout out to our co-host, Soup. Man, that's my guy. He's a diehard Rams fan. If you watch the show, Soup is on here. He brings the heat anytime, really any topic, man, just like Mike do. But man, he's a Rams fan, so he's very passionate. But I'm gonna try to do Soup justice here today. Now, MSN.com ranks the Rams as a grade A. A is an apple. Starting off in the second round, they didn't have a first round pick, but they got Steve Villa, guard out of TCU. Byron Young, defensive end, Tennessee. That guy's a great story. Byron Young, I think he was working at like a Dollar General while he's playing college football and making money. The guy is he's a great locker room guy, a great character, but I think especially on the field, he's gonna feel much needed hole for the Rams. And there's Kobe Turner, D tackle, Wake Forest. Stetson Bennett. This is a controversial one. I liked it. I know Soup did not like it. I personally like it. I know he got into some trouble. Somebody had a little bit too much of the juice, if you know what I mean, and got in some trouble with the law. But hopefully he could turn it around, man. And I think he's an amazing talent. Obviously, completely different quarterback from Matthew Stafford, but sometimes that could be a good thing, right? And obviously, Stetson can learn a lot from Matthew Stafford. Then they had Nick Hampton, outside linebacker, Appalachian State. Very familiar with that name. Great talent. Warren McClendon, offensive tackle, Georgia. Davis Allen, tight end, Georgia. Puka Nacua, wide receiver, BYU. Trevius Hodges Tomlinson. This is the, I want to say, a cousin. Oh, nephew. Okay. Thank you. Nephew of LaDainian Tomlinson. Very, very scrappy cornerback for TCU. This guy is going to do the thing. I'm very excited for him to fall all the way to round 6. That's amazing. Then there's Ochuan Mathis, DN Nebraska. Zach Evans slid all the way down to round 6 from Ole Miss. That's a great pick up there, man. Then you got Ethan Evans. Ethan Evans, punter out of Wingate, and Desjuan Johnson, edge rusher out of Toledo. This article took and gave him an A. I'm gonna give it A minus. I feel like there were a few positions where they could have got a little bit better, but overall, I love what the Rams did. And the Rams historically, I want to point this out. They're very good at finding talent, man. Guys who, were UDFAs and developing them, turning them into stars, trading them, and then getting great value for them, man. This is the thing I love about the Rams, and I'm very confident. There's some names that pop out to me, some that don't on here, but I love what they did. They have a lot of holes to fill, and I think this is a great rebuilding year for them. But A minus is where I got them at. Mike, what do you got the Rams at?
I'm closer to where Soup is. Not as bad as he is. He probably would have gave his team like a C minus or an F or something. But I give him a B, man. I think Steve Avila is a phenomenal guard that will come in and start for them right away. But there were starting tackles in that spot that could have impacted that team more. They still have to replace Witt. They haven't done that successfully yet. Byron Young, I think that was a little bit early for him. As an edge, I think they could have got him a little bit later potentially. Most people were scratching their heads when they drafted him, but if you like a guy, go get him. Kobe Turner, I like, man. At first, I was like, man, I'm not sure who this guy is. And then we started looking up some film on his deal. I was like, yo, he's an absolute bully. I like that pick. Warren McClendon is a guy that I think can come in and start at tackle right away. I think I would have loved it if they would have got another tackle, still drafted Warren McClendon, and picked up a different guard. There was a plethora of starting guards in this draft. So I think they might have did that. And Tre'Davious Hodges-Tomlinson, while he's a beast in the slot, they have about 3 corners that can play the slot. They don't have a boundary corner. And I don't think he'll be able to line up against, like a Gabe Davis who's 6'4", and handle business. He'll do well in the slot, but they still needed a boundary corner. Zach Evans, I do like. I don't think they needed a starting running back. They have one, but that's a good complimentary back. So we'll see. I would have loved for them to get another receiver, a boundary corner, a tight end, and I still feel like those are holes that they're going to go into camp with. But I'll give them a B. They added some good talent, but they could have added a little bit more.
I agree. All right, then we go to San Francisco, the 49ers. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Let's see what they got. All right, so 87th pick overall, they got Jair Brown, safety out of Penn State. Jake Moody, their second pick that they got overall, kicker from Michigan. Jake Moody is a beast. I think this is going to be worth it. I know it's early. They probably could have got him a little later, but I like the pick. I think he's going to ball out. There's Cameron Latu, tight end, Alabama. Darrell Luter Jr., cornerback out of South Alabama. This is a guy, man, I watched his tape, I want to say about 3 months ago, man, and Darrell Luter Jr., man, this guy, he's very scrappy, long arms. I like, one of my favorite things about him is when it's deep pass, man, it's very tough to catch a pass on this guy, man. So Darrell Luter Jr., I'm expecting him to be a star and used literally right away his rookie year. Then there's Robert Beal Jr., defensive end, Georgia. D. Winters, inside linebacker, TCU. Braden Willis, tight end, Oklahoma. Y'all, friend of the show. We've interviewed Braden Willis. Check out the interview with him. Great guy. This guy, he can run. They keep him on jet sweeps. He can do trick plays. And he's a tight end, and he could block, and he's like 245. He reminds me of Travis Kelce a lot, man. So very, very fun and exciting player. Ronnie Bell, receiver, Michigan. Jalen Graham, outside linebacker, Purdue. They got a B minus. I'm gonna keep him there at a B minus as well too. Feel like they could have got a few better players. I would say there's about 4 players that I really like that they got. But as far as some of the players they got, I'm like, man, they reached multiple times, man. So very curious to see what that draft room looked like. But Mike, where you got him at?
I'll give him a C plus. I think again, drafting Jake Moody in the 3rd round when you probably could have got him in the 5th is extremely crazy to me. Braden Willis, I like a lot. I think it kind of like when they drafted him, man, there's been a lot of talk before the draft of moving him to fullback. So that's a guy that I think they could potentially, put at tight end for 1 year, then move him, potentially taking Juice's spot, which, that's going to be a tough shoes to fill. But that dude is a solid athlete that can absolutely fill that spot. And Bronny Bell, I liked a lot. That's just a good possession receiver, real timing based. Their offense is real timing based, so he'll get to the spot he needs to be. He doesn't drop the ball that much. So I give him a C plus. I just think they overdrafted a few positions that there were still some impact players on the board, and I was like, man, that would have been there's much better picks than Jake Moody in the third round at pick 99. Again, I'm not going to solely crap on their draft because drafting a kicker, but that just lets you know like how much depth that team does have. That they felt they could draft a kicker in the third round. They're still going to be a phenomenal team. They're going to be someone they got to deal with, but I think the draft could have been a little bit better.
I love it. All right, next team we got is the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I'm going to say right out the gate, I give them A+. I think they won the draft. Man, I'm super high on Seattle. I'm a Dolphins fan, so I have no reason to be. But, man, Seattle did the dang thing. I love what they did. But MSN.com gives them an A. They got Devon Witherspoon, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. We'll stop right there just for a brief second. Just those two guys, you got the best DB in the draft. You got the best receiver in the draft. Man, I love it. Derek Hall was a nightmare for Alabama and Bryce Young. Sacked him multiple times, man. They got Zach Charbonnet. I don't think Zach Charbonnet is going to be running back number one, but I do like him. He's a great edge running back. Breakout speed. Hands like, oh my gosh. Then you got Anthony Bradford. You're beefing up the O-line. I love it. Cameron Young, D tackle, Mississippi State. Mike Morris, DM, Michigan. Olusegun Oluwatimi, center from Michigan. This guy is one of my favorite centers in the whole entire draft, man. Olu, dude, is a beast. Mauler, I know he went all the way down to the fifth round. This is a guy I could see him starting day one. Guy's a beast. Jarek Reed, this guy's, he's not bad. You know what I mean? I think he could be more of a depth signing, but safety out of New Mexico. They had Kenny McIntosh, running back out of Georgia. He's not too bad. That's a guy who's, he's going to be in the mix. I think he should make the team, but there were a few guys who are UDFAs who I think might potentially be better than Kenny. So I just want to throw that out there. We're not covering UDFAs in this episode, but yeah, overall, I love it. I give him A+. Mike, where you got him at?
I'm going to give him a B+, man. I liked it. I liked it a lot in the beginning. Getting Devin Witherspoon, rather, Jackson Smith and Jimba, Derek Hall, phenomenal. Zach Charbonnet, I think, is a little bit overrated. And they also didn't need another running back, in my opinion. They drafted a running back last year, a solid starter, and then they went back and drafted Kenny McIntosh, who's a phenomenal receiving back. Like, that dude could legitimately line up in the slot and run routes, so I do like his flexibility. But that was a little bit of overdraft. Not an overdraft, but that's a position that they could have put more working on the D line, right? I think they could have got a Tyree Wilson and better people they could have got. There's better people. The tackle or D tackle from Georgia they could have drafted at 5. My favorite pick in this draft was a center from Michigan. That's a guy that will come in. You got him in the 5th, 6th round. He'll come in and start right away. And they've been hitting on those late round picks consistently. So I'll give it a B+ because of that. But I think there were some better players that are going to fit some needs. Although, they seem to make whoever they pick work. So I can't hate on that at all.
Thanks for watching another episode of the Touchdown with Doug Smith, where I cover all 32 NFL teams plus NFL exclusive interviews. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for the alerts, comment below, and we'll catch you next time on the Touchdown with Doug Smith.